All right, so we're warmed up here, and I have added pressure to the dome. So we just made the 3,000 horsepower beginner pull. If you haven't seen that, go back to the 3,000 horsepower beginner boost because I talked more about this engine if you want to see more there. And then so now I've added more power to it, but yes, and threw a bunch more gate pressure at it, and should be making 40 pounds of boost or so. All right, now I'll go in and look at the data log and see what's going on. I had a little bit of misfire up there, and if I had to guess, I think it's probably a little too rich up there. Now, what I'm for this particular setup. So what I'm doing is that this whole timing curve, everything that's timing wise, is exactly the way it is in my car. So I think this is about as close as a representation as we can get to the wagon, and but the only difference here is the injector. So that's what I'm figuring out on what it wants for injector. It sounded like it was a little rich up there, and just kind of it took off like freaking crazy, which is fine because it's starting to ramp in boost pretty hard. I think I'm gonna have to put some more boost in it down here so the dyno will sweep a little bit better. But you can see right there, 3723 at 8,000 RPM. We'll see what kind of boost it made. And make a report. And we are at 40 pounds of boost. So right there. So that's cool. Happy with that. All right, 90 psi of fuel pressure. That's fine. It's warm, so it's all warmed up. So I'm not worried about that. That's all cool. Let us see here. And then, yeah, so I think that's looking good. Let's go over here and look at the data log. Alrighty, so here's the data log from there. You can see 40 pounds of boost right there. And right there, so what it's doing is it runs up on the dyno real quick because it ramps in, builds boost. So this is the boost curve. So you can see what that looks like. I'm gonna need to leave it hanging out there just a little bit longer and let it put some more boost in it down here, so it tries to make a little more linear curve right here instead of so aggressive and then stops. So what it does is it comes up here, and then the dyno grabs it real hard, and then it lets it accelerate again. And right up there, that little bit up there, I heard it, and a little bit, just a real light misfire. And went in there and checked the plugs, and they didn't get gapped up right. They were at 30. A little too much gap, obviously, right there. But our tune-up is still looking good. And like I said, we just checked spark plugs. Definitely took a little bit of fuel out there, but I think it's because it's accelerating through there pretty hard. So I'm not going to change that particular spot. But once it caught it right there, it was only like 8%. So I'll go in there and I'll tune that up just a little bit. And it's taken O2 correction right there is only 5%, so it's pretty happy right through there. So I'll go in here and I'll just tune that up just a little bit, and then we are going to go over here, and we are going to throw some more boost on the gate. So that was with 45 pounds of pressure on the gate to make 40 pounds of boost. So that's pretty good too. And as you can see right there, 45 pounds of pressure on the gate. And down here, yeah, I'm gonna need to let it settle in a little bit more. There we go. I'll try slowing down my ramp rate just a little bit on the dyno. But I think we're just gonna go for 45 pounds, which is exactly where I was just running the car at. So my car ran at 45 pounds of boost, ran 433 at 3,600 pound car with a 115 60 foot. So, or 115, 113, something like that. And so anyways, I just wanted to run it exactly where I was running at. We can see where this is at, verifier tune. And the whole point of this whole engine here, put Clark in there, change the spark plug, or actually, yeah, changing the spark plugs that we just gapped up for it, is not that it makes the most amount of horsepower at, you know, any of these lower boost levels. It's that it's, get that focus, there we go, that it's capable of so much more. So obviously we know that I can run this thing up to 55 pounds of boost to where it's at. Bailey's running in between 60 and 70 pounds of boost on that exact motor, 525. And then so there's a lot of stuff, sorry about the hammering back there, it's a lot of stuff, or so much more that we're able to put at it when we need to. So I'm super happy with where everything is going. So let's throw some boost at this thing, and throw some boost at this thing, and we'll rock and roll. Obviously, before anybody asks, obviously I don't have the breaker, the rods that broke in my engine. In this engine has my original MGP rods that we've used on everybody's stuff. Was in my motor before, so don't even ask. Alrighty, super cool. That is pretty much exactly what I wanted to see. I think this is with these turbos, like, see, check them out. It still cracks me up. They are just still spinning there. It still cracks me up. Really like that. That's just a nice thing, and it's just a bearing deal. I mean, maybe in the grand scheme of life, it doesn't matter at all, but certainly can't hurt. Anyways, let's go check out our boost level, because this is exactly what I wanted to make. Now, I think that actually my engine with the 98s is probably making, because I never ended up having a chance to dyno it. I literally started my engine up. I was having a hub dyno issue, so we ran it. The thing made like 1,300 horsepower, and I said, okay, cool, good enough. Went to and drove it down to Florida, and immediately went to 690s, then 670s, and now we've been 650s. I've never dynoed it yet. I have completely figured that out at the track. I don't recommend that because it's a little more hassle. But anyways, 4,045 horsepower right there. It's 2,800 or 2,858 in torque. Monster. And you heard how, so I started it up higher in RPM and let it build more boost and take over, and it swept smoother and more consistent through there. Sounded really good. Now we're going to go in there and do a spark plug read on this thing too. But let's look at the boost. Should make 45-ish pounds of boost. There we go. I missed it by a little bit, 46. So 46 pounds of boost right there. Like I said, I just ran my engine at 45 pounds of boost with the 98 millimeter turbos, same timing, same AFR, same everything. So I think all those numbers are all matching and lining up pretty well. So super happy with this. So this is what we're calling the manly boost tune. So 45 PSI of boost with, in this particular application, another 10 PSI of boost to go. And ultimately, after I do that piston reconfiguration, piston/rod reconfiguration to give a little more piston pin height, if you don't know about that, go to the piston delete video. Give you a full rundown of the what I'm talking about in the pistons and piston design. After I redo that and make that in there, I mean, these things, this particular combination, I think all these 572s are going to be good in that 60 PSI boost range, which is where I want to be at. Possibly a little bit more. Like I said, Bailey's already running 60 to 70 PSI depending on the pass, where his car went 577 at 260 miles an hour. And then we drove it to McDonald's to go get lunch immediately afterwards. So anyways, super cool, very happy. Matt Hobbs is going to be ecstatic. This thing is ready to rock, and we're going to go in there. I'll show you a plug read real quick, and then I think we'll be done with this deal. Alright, so just made that pull. We're going to take the plug out, because I just had this as a brand new plug, and I got a little oil leak right there I'm going to have to fix. So a little oil leak right there, we'll fix that. The other thing that we're going to do with this now is when we take this off the dyno, so we lash it all up, make sure everything's all cool. We're also going to pull the pan on this, make sure everything's good, look at bearings, make sure we're just spot on the money before we ever even send it back to Matt. And I want no hassles, or that's hard to say, minimal hassles as least as possible. There's always some kind of stupid hassle. But I'll show you this spark plug, because golden rules, spark plug rules in the spark plug world. So that looks pretty good. Nice and safe. Just starting to get a little bit of color up there. So that's pretty good. I'm not sad with that at all. I think that looks nice. Yeah, that looks nice. Real good. So that's what your plug should look like, and that's nice and safe. You can really lean on these a lot. I mean, a lot of pro mod guys will lean on this thing till, you know, there's heat all the way down to my fingernail, all the way down to that first thread, and sometimes farther. So, I mean, there's room to go on this if you really want to lean on it. I do not want to really lean on it. No sense doing it here on the dyno. Happy with everything. Pressures are right. Engine is right. Everything is running nice. Fix that little oil leak right there in the intake manifold. This thing's ready to rock and roll. So, I also told you I was going to show you a little bit of the repairing my SMX block. So let's go over and check that thing out. Well, there she is. So we've got the one sleeve out. Just did a whole separate video on that, on how we got that sleeve out. And then some of you guys will just panic when you see how I'm getting this sleeve out of here. But go check that out on that other video. So we're making some progress, but this is not currently is not the primary focus in the shop. Oh, let's go back here and I'll show you this crankshaft again, because it did have some questions. So let me take it out of the box. Or I should just open the box. There you go. Now, all you guys are all panicked, or some people are all panicked, thinking that I just didn't grind in, you know, just left all the dings in there and everything. This is ground. It was already ground. We have deburred. In the last video, all of this was already deburred. We already took all the nicks off of it. But obviously, I'm not going to grind that all the way out, because that severely changes the balance. And not going to grind divots out. But we've deburred, hit these spots just like that. Did all of that. It's dog approved. Is it dog approved? Yeah. So this is super good. And thought I would just address that issue. So we're getting closer, and we'll just keep on plugging away. But we'll go over to, you'll see the block repair video and how I get that sleeve out of there and how we're going to have to get the rest of the sleeves out of there. So I'm Steve Morris. Have a great day.